All right, well, we'll just go ahead and get started, and then if other people join, we can let them in on the call. But we had kind of talked before we had done this webinar that none of the support coordinators really, oh, here's someone. None of the support coordinators really know who I am. And so we didn't want people to just think that I was just this body that was here working a job that didn't really care about the industry. And so I just want to give a little context to who I was, just so everyone kind of knows where I'm coming from as I'm talking about Giv and working with Giv and going over these RFSs today and stuff. So I started working with Giv in January this year. And then in August, September, when we decided we wanted to start doing these webinars, they had me come in. And so my background with this industry is that I have a daughter who's 8 years old who was born with a pretty significant brain malformation. And there was a 1% chance that she would be living at 6 months, and now she's 8 years old, and she probably won't live independently. And so my motivation over the next 10 years is what positive changes can we make in this industry from a caregiving agency standpoint, and like with the state and all these different things. Like my hope is to be able to make this industry as best as we can over the next 10 years, so that when my daughter enters the world of caregiving and group homes and supportive living and whatever that might look like for her, my hope is that we can collectively as a team work together to make this the best that it can be. So that's kind of my heart and where I come from in all of this. But today we wanted to kind of talk with you guys about the RFSs and getting those approved with the state, because we know that's kind of been a huge pain point for you guys and for us collectively as an entire group. And so we just kind of wanted to collaboratively have this conversation, and I'm going to share my screen and just share with you guys what our plans for this call are. So can everyone see this slide? So our hope,
P page.
It just has a P. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Okay. So we usually, when we do these webinars, I have this whole spiel that I'm ready to give with 20 slides, and I'm ready to change the world. And today, that's not necessarily the case. We just kind of want to have a group discussion with you guys about these kinds of bullet points that we've kind of come wanting to try to help you guys with. So we know that the state a couple weeks ago said they're no longer going to approve RFSs without documentation of needs changing and things like that. And so we wanted to kind of talk about what that looks like on your end and what you guys have been experiencing. And then like following up on that would improve documentation from Giv.care help improve the RFS process? And then possibly like would a template for RFSs make that easier? And so that's kind of like what we had kind of envisioned going into this meeting as we're discussing things today. And so we just kind of want to open the floor to you guys and just kind of talk about these things and see where you're at. So on the lines of the state saying that they're no longer going to approve RFSs, since the state has come out and said that, what has your experience within recent weeks been with an RFS? Have you guys been getting them approved? Has the state been denying them like they said they would? What is that looking like for you guys? And feel free to just raise your hand with the raise hand function or just start shouting out. Like, we want to kind of get feedback on what this has looked like since that statement. Yeah, Tracy.
I feel like I've had RFSs approved, but what I really feel like you've got to do, and what I have done, is if you've got parents that don't want to manage the SAS program, and you can make a pretty documented reason for that, I feel like that works. You certainly can't say they want the higher rate. That's not going to cut it. But if you say that you know, mom works, mom's busy, she's got 5 other kids, she cannot handle to manage the SAS program, and it's necessary to have a provider model. I mean, I think something like that works certainly better than saying they want to make $24 an hour. That doesn't work.
Right. Yes. And that's kind of the feedback that we'd received over the last couple of weeks, is that the more detail, it almost made it, the feedback that we've gotten from other support coordinators is that they kind of almost want a novel about the situation. Like, they don't want just like a paragraph of like, we want this, this, and this. Like, they want the whole background and the whole story. Is that kind of what you guys are seeing?
Yes. Yes.
I only have one that I've done that's in the process right now. It got approved. They just wanted me to change it to one time because they the budget's kind of been underutilized like the past year. So they're like, how can you justify anyway that they need like more hours? Because I switched it over just fine, but it just meant less hours for the family. But they really do need the more hours. So I put in the request to be like, we just need to get the hours back up there. And same thing, like Tracy said, it was just a matter of kind of explaining that the SaaS model was just too cumbersome for the family to do anymore. They, monthly summaries, the paperwork, all of that, maintaining all of that was just too difficult. And I wouldn't say it was super lengthy. It was just kind of like pretty much just saying like, this is how it is. It's just too cumbersome for the family to manage the paperwork involved with the SaaS, and the provider model is much more cohesive and much more easy to manage, less work on their end.
Awesome. And then and you're still waiting to see if that one is going to get approved?
Well, it looks like everything was accepted on my criteria. It was just they just wanted me to change it from ongoing to one time to see like, are they going to really use these hours in this, plan year kind of thing? And then they'll probably approve ongoing like next year. So it looked like all my criteria was approved. They just, yeah.
That's really good feedback to have. Does anyone else have any recent RFS experiences that they want to share? If it was great, if it was not great? Yeah, Tracy.
Oh, did I raise my hand? I actually didn't even mean to. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You can hop in anytime.
Well, I was just going to say, I feel like I've been doing 1,000 RFSs lately. And I feel like what Julie said, you have got to write a novel. I feel like we want to give them 5 sentences and explain to them, but they want a novel. They want background information. They want to know why, it's going to be more successful this way. I mean, that's, I didn't actually mean to raise my hand, but they want it long. They want it long.
Yeah. Jody, did you have something to share?
Yeah, mine are always approved. They just tell me again, like Julie said, that they won't get as many hours. And so that's kind of tough on some of the families, but they are getting approved.
That's good to know. I was going to have a follow-up to that, and I can't think of what it was now. Tracy, did you have something else?
No, I need to undo my hand.
Oh, you're good. So then with that, we as an agency wanted to know how we can help you guys through the RFS process, because I guess our opinion and our reason for this webinar was when they had come out and initially said they're no longer approving RFSs, and we were kind of blindsided by that. And as we were talking with other support coordinators, which this is funny because I feel like the tone of this has gone a different direction than the tone of our morning meeting, because you guys are saying that you are kind of pretty much being successful with your RFSs at this point. But from the feedback that we'd gotten leading up to this meeting was kind of that the families that are wanting to switch from SaaS to Giv, the state had kind of made that judgment call and said that they weren't going to approve them because of Giv. They made it sound like it was a Giv issue and that they didn't like that they were just kind of switching for the higher rate. And so with that, we were wondering on our end, can improve documentation of the client's notes, or I guess, are you guys getting enough information from Giv on your clients to be able to justify the needs and the information that you need in the RFS?
I don't know the answer to that.
You're fine. Does anyone, I guess, and maybe another way to say that would be does anyone here on this call have clients with us? And I guess the information that you're getting from us on your clients on a regular basis, is that sufficient for you guys, or is it kind of lacking and you feel like you need more information on your clients from Giv in general?
You mean for the summaries, the quarterly summaries?
Yeah, are you getting what you need from us, or do you feel like we're lacking in what we're offering to support coordinators in that regard?
No, I think that I have actually been impressed with the quarterly summaries. I think they've been good.
Okay.
I think 5 clients with you guys, and I feel like they've been really good.
Yeah.
I do think that maybe sometimes, and I actually come from a provider background, I do think that we need to maybe, and I think every provider needs to know this, it can't all be roses. So there's got to be something listed that maybe, they're working on. So, and I'm guilty of it too. When I do mine, I'm like, everything's going well. They're making progress towards their goals. And, they aren't always actually.
Right. Because if you can't prove that there's goals to be working on, then the state's going to come back and say, well, why are they receiving services? Yeah.
Exactly.
Alec, did you have something you wanted to share?
This is actually Anna here too. I'm with Alex, but getting our census approved, and in general, as far as timeline, we're still, obviously hearing that it seems like it's kind of a shot in the dark if it's going to take 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks. Are you guys getting feedback on that? I mean, if they want novels, is that the length of time that it takes for them to review it, or anything else that we think can assist with the process? Because that is unfortunate from the client perspective, where we're all just kind of sitting in a waiting game, hoping we can help tomorrow, but inevitably we really don't know when that is.
Did you guys hear that, or do you need me to paraphrase what she said? Because I think her connection might have been a little. Did you guys get?
Yeah, it was kind of choppy. If you could paraphrase.
Yeah. So what we had discussed on our meeting earlier this morning was that the support coordinators were telling us that the issue isn't necessarily as much the RFS process as much as it is the timeline that it's taking for the state to approve the RFSs. The support coordinators that we were on with this morning were saying that it was taking like 4 to 8 weeks, and it could be any varying timeline before they ever hear back from the state. Meanwhile, their clients are running out of budget. They aren't able to have the caregivers come in because there's not enough hours left in their budget, and they're just kind of in this like weird limbo with the state. Is that a situation that you guys are finding yourselves in, where it's almost not really the RFS, but it's the timeline that it takes for the state to get back to you? Is that something you guys have experienced?
They've been taking longer for sure. But I also feel like they're deferred. I feel like sometimes the people that are looking at them are like deferring them without even reading them. I feel like they're always deferred once. I mean, not always. I've had a few in the last little while that have been approved, but yeah. And if you had a brain injury client, one of the reasons is Rolf was out of town for like a whole month. So that was that reason. So
are there certain employees at the state that deal with certain clients based on their diagnosis?
Well, Rolf Halbell, if you're a brain injury certified support coordinator and have brain injury clients, he has to approve the RFSs. So that's just a side note. I mean,
okay, so that's only pertaining to brain injuries then, not any other diagnosis. Okay.
We only have 2, so.
Right. And then does anyone else have any feedback on what that timeline for the state has looked like for them, and if that has been more of the impacting issue than the RFS itself?
They've been taking a while. They for sure have been taking a while. But I don't think they've been taking 8 weeks.
Yeah, that was the kind.
They haven't.
Yeah, that was the big thing that we'd taken from the call earlier today, was like, they were like, we don't really care about the RFS. It's the state taking all this time. And so that's when I was like saying it went in a much different direction, because we thought that they were going to be, we expected to have a lot of fire and energy going towards the RFS and trying to figure out how to improve that. And their bigger thing was the timeline that it was taking. And then on this call, you guys are saying, the RFS isn't that big of a deal and the timelines aren't that big of a deal. So now I'm like, well, I don't know what the problem is.
Neither do we.
Well, so then the last thing that we kind of wanted to talk about that we brought up in our call earlier this morning was, would a template for the RFS process make anything easier for you guys? Like, we had thought like, maybe could Giv come up with this template that we share with other agencies in the state and other support coordinators, and then they can be submitting this template to the state. And we had kind of heard on the call earlier today that the state doesn't like the idea of a template. And we're kind of wondering if you guys have similar feedback to that, or what your thoughts on that situation are.
They would hate it.
I certainly like the idea of a template, but that's because I'm newer in learning all of this. But yeah, I don't know about how much they'd like it.
So has anyone on this call, I guess, specifically heard from the state in regards to, like, has anyone brought up the idea of a template to anyone at the state at all ever? Because earlier we'd gotten feedback saying that the state wouldn't allow it because everyone's situation is so unique that a template would kind of be like this copy and paste thing, which our perspective was that even if you give prompts on a template, everyone's situation is going to be unique. So whatever you fill into the prompts on the template, it would still be very different. But cohesive enough in a way that maybe the DSPD people would have an easier time going through them. I don't know. But that was kind of a thing that we were hoping, our kind of idea that we really were hoping to be able to come out of these meetings with today was, can we create a template and what would be on that template? And I guess, do you guys have feedback on what exactly is the state looking for when it comes to creating an RFS? Like, is there an XYZ thing that the state needs to see, this, and this on every single RFS that comes through?
I think a template would be a good idea, and then we would have to see how DSPD liked it. They couldn't really know we were using it, but you couldn't like use all the verbiage and then we just copy and paste it. We've got to be unique.
Right.
Yeah,
But,
I think it's a good idea.
But I guess, so then the follow-up question to that is, if a template was created, what things does DSPD need to see on every single RFS that comes through that would encompass that template? So it's like documentation of needs changes, but what else do they need that you guys are continually having to write every time?
Well, they need background. I mean, they need a novel. They need background. They need to know why.
Yeah.
They need to know how hard the kid is, or they need to know why they're, well, I don't know. You're talking especially about caregiver compensation for that? Is that what you're talking about, or everything?
No, my thing was more everything. Like, my thought was like, what if we had a piece of paper and on this paper we were like, this is the child's needs, this is what the child currently experiences, and this is what we're hoping to get through, and have this like pretty little outline of what an RFS could be. And so I guess our question is like, what would those components be that you guys have on every single RFS that a template could be created from, I guess, was our hope.
I don't want to keep talking.
Yeah, other friends can feel free to hop in if they're like, this is a great idea, or this is not what we're looking for.
Well, I think, okay, a description of the person to start out with, a description of the need, a description of what has worked and what has not worked. Maybe a schedule. I mean, certainly not a schedule in the just the body of it, because you have to touch that anyway. But what hours and why is that needed and when? So I mean, I'm mostly thinking about caregiver compensation. The other thing I wondered is for them to be happier with you guys using caregiver, because it's the code code. I wonder if you guys could, or if a new code could be used for caregiver through you, because I mean, you guys are unique. We had a new client that was just given to us, not to me, but to my employee who's also on. And we wanted her original budget to be, or his original budget to be SLN for caregiver compensation. And DSPD said they could not do that, because what they can't do is to say you're going to use Give. They can't say you're going to use caregiver through Give. They can't do that. So they awarded SL3 and then some SLN through Give for the employee. So, maybe a different code would work. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
That's really great feedback.
Well, and then they could track it easier. I think one of the problems with DSPD is they can't track caregiver if it's being billed as SLN.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Thank you so much for that. Does anyone else have anything else that they'd like to add to that or get off their chest in regards to the state and there's everything? Oh, Jen, did you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I did just want to mention, so my name is Jen and I'm with Giv.care. And I did want to say, kind of like Paige just mentioned, we really do want to support the support coordinators as best we can. So we are working really hard to get your clients to use their full budget, to utilize it to the maximum, obviously without going over, so that if you are submitting an RFS, they can see there's a need. They're using all their hours. And additionally, if you ever do need additional information, a lot of times our caregivers will write down specific activities they're doing, behavioral challenges they're experiencing during shifts. So if you need some really detailed information from our caregiver notes, please reach out to us. We're happy to provide that and any other information that we can pass along to you. And so please don't be nervous or hesitant to reach out to us, we really do want to support you as best we can. So we do have some of those resources we can help with.
So along those lines, Jen, do you guys, so when you send us like the quarterly summary, so I'm assuming obviously you guys get notes for every shift a person works, right? And then you're kind of compiling those and maybe condensing it into the summary you send us, right? Because it's not going to be, I don't get these lengthy summaries. You kind of condensed it down to a paragraph or whatever. Is that, but you're saying that if we need more information, like you can give us those detailed notes because you have those on file. Is that?
Yes, that is correct. So yeah, we don't want to give you, a quarter's worth of all the caregiver notes because there are notes for every single shift. So we do summarize those and try to condense them. But yeah, if you need a specific shift dates or events or caregivers who were working with the client at that time, we can provide it. And obviously our notes are only going to be as detailed as that specific caregiver makes them. But we're also happy to set up a call with the caregivers and talk through, some of the things that are happening. If there are behaviors that have changed with the client that we need more information on, so you can explain that to the state. We're happy to intervene there as well and set up, a call with the caregivers, talk to them more. But a lot of our caregivers do include that in their notes, so we may already have that information available.
Awesome. And then Alec, did you or Anna have your hand up again? Alec, are you there?
Oh, can you hear me now? Maybe
Yeah.
I have a problem. My connection is bad. Sorry.
You're good.
Just wanted to express our appreciation for all that you guys do for our clients, for your clients, for any potential clients, and we really want the goal here as we do these webinars each month and as we discuss different topics is really to how we can improve the client's care and the lives of our caregivers, because if a caregiver is not happy, then they really can't get the client happy. So we know that we've got to keep everybody happy. And obviously the higher pay has helped with that. And with that, we expect them to do really good notes, and we need them to record what we need or what the state needs for the budget to continue to what it's at, whether we need more. So we want to be a team player and help this entire industry as a whole have a lot more success. So we want to be on your team. We need you to help us. We'll help you, and we'll try to get the state to play. That's what we're learning is our main goal, is how we can just improve this whole thing. So again, thank you from the agency side.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of all we had for you guys today. We just kind of wanted to kind of talk through what these pain points were for you guys and what we could do to help facilitate that. So I guess our takeaways from this meeting is that we're going to try to work alongside the state and see if maybe there is anything we can do as far as a template is concerned. And if we are able to kind of create that with approval of some sort from the state, then we can follow up with you guys on that. And then also just trying to work with the state to be able to kind of move the timelines faster on the RFSs, so that clients aren't running out of budget and things like that. But we're just grateful that you guys took the time to be with us today. And if you have any questions, you can follow up with us at support@Giv.care. And one of us is always happy to reach out and help when possible. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Paige.
Thanks.
Okay, Paige, just want to say you're awesome. So way to go. You're so good at this.
Thanks. I don't know what I'm doing. I just fake it, but it's great.
Okay, well, you're totally making it. So good job.
We'll see you.
Bye.